The shockwave hit Britain before anyone realized what was happening. A moment so baffling, so unprecedented, that even seasoned constitutional experts stopped mid-sentence and reached for their phones. A quiet letter, delivered to the capital's leadership, ignited a confrontation no modern Britain has witnessed, and what followed pushed the country to the brink of a political rupture few believed possible. It began with a single message from the monarch's office, but the real story runs far deeper than a misplaced formality or a clash of personalities. Something has been building beneath the surface for months, and once it broke into the open, nothing about Britain's balance of power looked the same again. You're about to see why this moment matters far more than political gossip, and why people across the world are watching every new development with disbelief. The spark was almost mundane. A royal courier arrived at the capital's administrative headquarters carrying a sealed note. The wording was courteous, measured, precise, but its meaning cut through decades of constitutional restraint. It criticized the city's handling of ceremonial matters tied to national heritage, raising questions so sensitive that previous monarchs avoided them entirely. For the crown to challenge an elected official directly wasn't just unusual. It was a breach of the unwritten firewall designed to keep Britain's constitutional machinery stable. It signaled that something inside the palace had finally snapped. Halfway through this storm, if you want ongoing breakdowns of the major political stories shaping Britain right now, make sure you're subscribed so you never miss what comes next. The capital's leader stepped before the cameras hours after the letter leaked. What should have been a carefully neutral press appearance instead detonated the political landscape. The statement that followed dismissed outside influence, rejected unelected authority, and framed the dispute as a clash between democratic mandates and inherited power. The language was pointed, sharp, calculated, not the words of a leader caught off guard, but of someone drawing a line they knew could not be ignored. Observers instantly recognized the significance. For the first time in living memory, the crown and a major elected official were in open conflict, each defending a version of Britain's future. The palace did not let the moment pass. Senior advisors, speaking with unmistakable authorization, described the monarch as deeply concerned by the escalating defiance. Emergency meetings convened. Legal experts were summoned. Old constitutional mechanisms, dusty provisions believed to belong in museums rather than modern government, were suddenly being reread with fresh urgency. By evening, the monarch had invoked powers that had not been exercised in generations, reasserting oversight on matters touching national symbolism, heritage, and ceremonial order. These weren't sweeping powers. They weren't authoritarian moves. They were precise, deliberate tools designed to uphold the continuity of the state itself. The capital's administration remained intact, but its authority was now bounded in new ways. Decisions that once sailed through unchallenged were suddenly subject to scrutiny by constitutional specialists appointed through ancient prerogatives. Whether one agreed with the monarch or not, the brilliance of the maneuver was undeniable. The system had been used to defend itself. No democratic line was crossed, no elected mandate overturned, but the message was unmistakable. The crown would not retreat quietly from its role as guardian of the nation's enduring identity. The political fallout was immediate. Financial markets rallied, interpreting the intervention as a stabilizing force after months of uncertainty. Parliamentarians seized the moment to draw sharp contrasts between tradition and radicalism, stability and confrontation. Public sentiment shifted with astonishing speed. Social media erupted with support for the monarchy, and early polling revealed an unprecedented collapse in approval for the capital's leadership. For the first time in years, opposition gains appeared vulnerable not because of policy disagreements, but because of a perception of constitutional recklessness. And then came the leak. Documents from within the capital's administration surfaced, revealing warnings that the strategy being pursued could trigger historic constitutional responses. These weren't vague cautions. They were explicit, detailed, and delivered by senior civil servants. If authentic, and experts analyzing them say they appear to be, they suggest the crisis wasn't an accident. It was engineered, a deliberate attempt to provoke ideological confrontation between progressive politics and traditional institutions, hoping it would elevate the city leader as a national figure ahead of future elections. The revelation landed like a thunderclap. Constitutional scholars condemned the tactic as a misuse of office. Political allies began distancing themselves. Internal staff reportedly split into factions, arguing over whether to apologize, double down, or brace for resignation demands. Inside the capital's headquarters, the mood turned frantic. Senior aides warned that continuing the fight risked political oblivion. Leaked messages revealed fear, resentment, and disbelief as the scale of the backlash became clear. Even routine press events showed signs of exhaustion. The leader at the center of the storm appeared strained, anxious, haunted by the realization that a misjudged strategy might end a career that had long seemed unshakable. The next days will be decisive. A confidence crisis threatens the capital's administration from within its own political ranks. Parliament is preparing emergency debates. Legal scholars are revisiting provisions once thought obsolete, including those that could theoretically remove local officials who violate core constitutional norms. Whether these powers will be used is unclear, but the fact they are being discussed at all is extraordinary. So the question now is unavoidable. Has the leader of Britain's most influential city fatally overplayed their hand? Or will they somehow turn this backlash into a new kind of political momentum? And has the monarch, by stepping forward at such a critical moment, unintentionally reshaped the modern understanding of royal authority for a new generation? This confrontation has exposed something deeper than a disagreement over processions or street routes. It has forced the nation to re-examine what it expects from its leaders, elected or not, and what role its historic institutions should play in an increasingly divided age. This crisis is still unfolding. New details are emerging by the hour, and the outcome may redefine not only the capital's leadership, but the place of the monarchy itself in 21st century governance. Stay watching. The most important chapter has yet to be written.